Hi everyone, it's Angela Palmer here. Thank you for joining me for my Facebook Live today. I just thought since we are stuck at home in this lockdown, it's a good chance to do some crafting and maybe you need some inspiration. So I've got a card idea here today that I would like to share with you. It's not an original one, it's something that I saw someone else make, another demonstrator. Mary Fish came up with this idea. It's called the angle card, so it's a DSP with an angle in it. So I will show that shortly to you and show you the papers and things that I've used. So thank you for taking the time today to come and watch, and I hope you find this useful and perhaps you'll give it a go, and love to see the creations that you make as well. So let's get started. So I'm just going to turn my camera around and put it onto my table. All right, so thank you to those of you that are either joining me live or watching the recording later on. So this is the card here, fairly simple, but I'll show you how it's done. So it involves using some DSP and then a little bit of stamping as well. So that's why we're calling it the angle. So basically you need a white card base to make this card, and then you can use any kind of paper, designer series paper, DSP that you've got. So let's get started and I'll show you how it's done. So, whoops, dropping stamps on the floor. Okay, so you basically, when you make this card, you're making two at once, which is quite helpful. So you're going to need two card bases. So for me, for my card bases, I like to use the thick Whisper White because it's a little bit more sturdy and good for a card base. So it's my A4 scored down the middle at 10.5 and then cut at 14.85. You're going to need a piece of designer series paper, and this is a square, so it's the same height of the card, so it's 10.5 by 10.5, and then you need some strips. So if I show you the card again, you'll see that it's got some strips on it. So it's just cardstock. You could use ribbon or something else, but the easiest way is cardstock. So just a length longer than the card because it is diagonal. So this is about 1 centimetre wide, but you can make it narrower or wider if you wish. And one of them, if you can look closely enough, I don't know if you can tell, I've actually embossed this one. This one's just plain. So I've used this Tasteful Textures embossing folder to just give it a bit of pattern to it, if you can see that. All right, and then just whatever stamps you want to put on the front. So I've chosen to use a fairly largest sentiment stamp here, and then an image, but you can or you don't need to use an image. It's up to you what you want to do. So I'll show you as we go. All right, so you will need a trimmer as well. So this is the only sort of technical part to it really. So you've got your 10.5 square. So if there is a right way, I think it looks better this way, I'm going to put it in my cutter, angle it. So you want to bring it in about a couple of centimetres that way and a couple of centimetres that way, but we're not measuring it. So you do not want to go corner to corner. You want to bring it in a little bit. So kind of like from the right, a couple of centimetres, from the left, a couple of centimetres, and then cut it. So that's my right way up, and I'm just angling it slightly like that. So let's try about this. So every time you do it, it might be slightly different, okay? So that was my square, and I angled it and cut, so I've got two pieces like this, okay? And then you're going to adhere them. So you can, if you saw in my cards, one I've coloured and one I've left black and white. So I am going to colour today just to show you how I do that. And what I'm going to use is the watercolour pencils and blender pens. So these are watercolour pencils, and then I'm going to use the blender pens. And I'll show you why I'm using the blender pens. So you can keep your watercolour pencils in the box that it comes in like that, or I've got a set here that I've actually put it in a case. Then I can kind of see them more easily and things. So I'm going to go for here is a Calypso Coral, which is what I did on here. And I'm going to colour my flowers. So you don't need to be exact. I'm just doing it fairly rough, and I will do it a little bit quick today for the sake of the video. But I just wanted to show you how I did it. So you'll see that I'm not colouring it imperfectly. Actually, I have done colour lots of flowers, haven't I? And the harder I press, obviously the darker colour it's going to be. And it's the flowers in different placements to the other one. So let's try that, and I'll use Daffodil Delight as well. So we'll do a bit of yellow on some of them. And then I want to show you how I make it look so much better. So I'm just very roughly colouring it. Maybe we'll make these little ones yellow. And then we want to do the leaves. So I'm going to go for an old olive leaf. So someone was asking what's the suite. So the paper I'm using is one of the papers that's available for free as part of Celebration. And after I've made the card, I'll show you the paper. It's the beautifully penned paper, which is based on a suite in the annual catalogue, which is the hand-penned suite. But this particular paper is from Celebration. Okay, and then the stamps that I've used are from other sets, and I'll show you those shortly. Okay, so there's quite a few more leaves, but you'll get the general idea. So so if you look at that, that is very messy colouring. What should we do? Let's do a yellow around there as well. Okay, then what I'm going to use is these Stampin' Up blender pens. So you get a set of 3 of them, and they're like this. So they come with some ink already in them, well, not ink, but some kind of special liquid in them, and that helps you blend the colours. So I would work on one colour to start with. So you just need to get a scrap piece of paper and just make sure it's clean. Let's start with our yellow first, and then you can see I can blend it in, and it just makes it look so much softer. Can you see that? So if you look at these, which I've done with the blender pen compared to that looks so nice. It doesn't even, you can't see pencil marks with it. So it's really good. And you can use the blender pens with ink as well. Colour in things with ink too. Whoops, I've gone and put old olive on that one, which is not so good. Okay, so when you finish, just get a scrap piece of paper, get the colour out, and let's go for the Calypso Coral. So you can keep this paper black and white. You can colour it with watercolour pencils like I'm using, and it's a softer, gentler look. You could use ink, colour it with ink. You could colour it with markers. You could colour it with stamping blends. So there's various choices, but watercolour pencils are quite an economical way of getting a range of colours and things and colouring things, and it's a nice gentle look, as I said. So I've got a little bit of colour still on my brush from before, so I'm just taking it over to where I've kind of missed. Now I've done that one wrong there. Haven't tried it, but I might be able to rub it out, have to see. So now can you see I've cleaned it, and now I'm doing the leaves, and I'll just show you half and half. So if you look at these leaves here, doesn't that look lovely? But these look rather messy and things. So it's quite therapeutic as well. Colouring. Would probably be a little bit more careful and slower if I wasn't doing a Facebook Live, but for the sake of getting it done. So yeah. So I've missed a few, but you get the general idea. I can always go back and colour some later. So to make the card, so of course you could just use a DSP that is involves no colouring, and just all you need to do is cut it and stick it down. So all I'm going to do is adhere this here like that, and then I'm going to adhere my strip, but have it hanging over. So I'm just going to use some glue I'm just going to see if I've got an eraser to get rid of that wrong colouring, but I can't see one at the moment, so we'll just leave it. Okay, so just make sure if you've got a design that goes a particular way, that it's up the right way. So remember that square that I started off with was a 10.5 square. There we go, like that. So what I'm going to do is put some glue here, and then I'm just going to put that over the top, so you're kind of covering that join. So that's what it looks like, just a plain piece of cardstock, or you can use the embossed piece. So I'm going to go for plain on this one now, and go right to the edge, gently put it down. Right, I find it quite, whoops, now see how I've not got the angle right? That's fine, just adjust it and press it down. So you don't want to see any joins and things. So I'll let that dry for a moment. Then I'm going to stamp. So I could choose one of my colours, or I could go black and white. I'm just going to go black and white for now. So if you're wondering what sentiment I've used, these are nice big ones. So it's from the Sweet Ice Cream. So a happy birthday, a thank you. Wanted to find something that was of a reasonable size. So let's do that. I'm going to do it a little bit more here this time. That looks lovely. Now I wanted to coordinate with a flower. I just found a flower I had in a stamp set, so I used this Freeze a Bird one. And I might just try the leaf this time and put that on as well. Just to kind of, there we go. Now I could leave that black and white, or I could colour that too. If you do colour it, just watch. I did use Memento, so you want to just make sure you don't smudge the ink too much. Maybe a bit more colour. And then I'll cut off that extra piece in a moment. So just blend it in. Doesn't that soften it so nicely? So they're watercolour pencils that I've used. And then clean it off. Okay, so now we get my paper snips. And trim. And what I'll do shortly is I'll show you some other creations with the same technique. Alright, so there you go. So that's the first card. So with my other piece, I'm going to use here. So you could check the design doesn't work upside down. If not, I could do it that way and stamp up here. It probably looks better that way. I'm going to leave it black and white, so let's do it like that. So glue that down. Or the other option, I'll show you in a minute, you could turn the card on its side as well. So, except it's too late now because it opens the wrong way, but we'll go with that. Alright, and then a bit of glue along here. And my embossed piece. Alright, so this time I'm going to stamp up here instead. So I'll go with that thank you again. Maybe in the middle. And I'll do that leaf. Maybe I'll do a flower this time. Just to change it up a little bit. And I could just leave it black and white. Alright, and then trim that off. So that's basically how quick and easy it is. Oops, I've smudged it, no. So do go easy. If you've got ink on your hands, I'll have to come up with a way to hide that. So basically what I started with was a 10.5 square piece, and it's how you cut it that is important. And if you missed the beginning, if you can watch the recording and see how I did it. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you the paper that I've used and some other cards with it as well. So with Celebration, if you spend $110 before shipping, you can choose one free product. And this is one of the free products that you can choose. So it's a pack of designer series paper called the Beautifully Penned. And on one side it's more of your blacks or grey blacks, and then the other side is more white. So you can use the patterns, you can do some colouring, and you get a pack of that 12 by 12, and you've got 3 different double-sided sheets, and you get 4 of each. So you could make a lot of great things, and it coordinates with the hand pen stamp set from the annual catalogue. So that's what you could get for free. Some of the other cards that I've made, I'll show you. So this was the original one that I showed you. Another card set made with that paper is this one here. So that's using this paper. So I've coloured the middle flowers with some black and white. And you'll see that with this one, I turned it that way. And this one's got the embossed cardstock strip on it. This one's got just a plain strip on it. And I've done a little bit of extra stamping. So I've made some thank you cards. So again, if you missed earlier, I like the big sentiments, so I've used the big sentiments from the sweet ice cream. But you can use whatever sentiments and things that you like. Another set of papers in the celebration is the Peaceful Deer. So the Peaceful Deer has lots of reds, greens, sorry, peaceful prints, but it does include a deer on it. It's called Peaceful Prints. And reds, greens, Sahara sand. So we've got real red, garden green, and then this is Sahara sand. So that's quite cool. And then the other side is this here. So you can see, whoops, it's upside down, the deer that I was talking about too. So I've used that pattern to make this card. Sorry, it's not real red. It looks like cherry cobbler actually. Yes, cherry cobbler. So this one I hadn't got around to finishing, but you could add a few rhinestones to it to add something else to it. This one here, I've added that snowflake. It's lovely. It's from the gingerbread and peppermint sweet and the wishing you Merry Christmas. Now usually I wouldn't lift it up and cut it out, but I stamped and smudged, so I had to cover it up somehow, so that's what I did. And I'd probably normally move it up a little bit higher like that. I've since found another stamp set that's got some little snowflakes, which I'll show you now, so I'd possibly stamp those on too. So that was the Peaceful Prints DSP, again available for free for celebration. And then the last set I've got to show you is this one here with the penguin, which is very cute. So this is another print available for free during celebration. And these are some of the designs with the penguin, the fox, the snowman available on them. So they're quite fun papers and things. But then on the other side, you've got completely different, just patterns, dots, stripes, trees. So, and quite soft colours, Fresh Freesia and Just Jade and other colours which are quite nice. Looks like Misty Moonlight too. So that's another set of papers that's available. So I do have the penguin punch and penguin stamp set. So I did stamp a penguin on myself. But you could probably find one on the paper if you didn't have the punch, like on here. You could cut it out and put it on as well. So that's quite fun. So obviously these are more of a snow theme, which, you know, we don't have snow here at Christmas time, but yeah, still fun papers and things. So again, there's that snowflake that I used before, and I've gone for the blue colours this time. This one's got the embossed strip, this one's just got a plain one. And this time, because the design, there is a pattern and definitely a right way up when you cut it, then I had to turn it around. So that's why I decided to put it on the right hand side. So it's a very simple card design, but quite effective. And obviously these are more Christmas themed because of the paper available in celebration. But you can, with the flowers and things, you can make other cards as well that are thank yous and birthdays as well. So just a reminder, with celebration, it's until the 30th of September. So any purchase that you make of $110 before shipping, you can choose one of the free products. You can order from the Christmas catalogue, from the annual catalogue, from the clearance rack, any current products if you purchase them, then you will get to earn your celebration products. So I'll just show you all those cards again. The hand penned and more hand penned flower ones. There's my snow one, so let's do it that way around, and then that design there. So basically, with a square of DSP, a strip of cardstock, and a sentiment, and if you want to add, you know, other stamps and things as well, you can. So I hope you found that inspiring and useful. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask, and perhaps over the weekend or during lockdown, you might give these cards or this card design a try. So it was an idea inspired by Mary Fish, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you do make some photos and using Stampin' Up papers and things, then please share them. You can share them on this post, or if you're part of my Facebook group, then you're welcome to share them on there too. So thanks for your time, and if you've got any questions, please ask. If you would like a catalogue or anything like that and you don't have a demonstrator, then please feel free to get in contact with me. So thanks for your time. Do look after yourself, stay safe, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks, bye.